Oh yeah, Mia.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, like I feel like it was
Mama.
a very similar.
Mama and Mia. Oh my God, we cracked the code.
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia.
Here I go
Oh,
again.
there we go. Wow, we just solved Evil Dead. We solved Evil Dead.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
See dead people.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Here's Johnny.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Welcome to Talking Horror with Jamie and Nikisha.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Nikisha, and this is Talking Horror with Jamie
And Nikisha.
where we share our love for spooky spook things. I'm just laughing at all of Jamie's hand movements here. And we talk horror through the lens of human behavior. Welcome, everyone. Jamie's got her lens on, and she is
They're new,
ready to
too.
go. Fancy. They look cute. What is it, like a
not sponsored.
Oh, nice. What is it, like a cheetah print? What's happening? I see like little,
I think it's
dots.
like a, what is it called?
Turtle shell.
Yeah, tortoise something.
Super cute. Love the colors. Yes, so guys, look, watch us on YouTube so you can see Jamie's awesome lenses.
Check out my glasses.
And check out our cool new glasses.
She can't see without her glasses.
Don't bring that up.
Jamie's
trauma.
never seen it.
Really?
Yeah, I just avoid traumatic movies.
I mean,
Oh,
well,
so
yes.
Evil Dead Rise does not fit into that
This
wheelhouse.
is comfort movie.
all the Evil Dead.
Cozy, super chill.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, just about a family.
Yeah,
trying
don't worry.
to make it work.
It's about family and cooking.
Oh,
Oh, God.
Sir, with the cheese grater, leave the cheese grater out of this.
Well, maybe Lee Cronin should have left the cheese grater out of this.
Okay, so we already unhinged as this movie is, which I'm so excited to talk about because obviously, as we've already mentioned, we are talking about the 2023 supernatural horror film, Evil Dead Rise. I don't know why I said it like that, but that's how I felt when I saw the title card. Just rise. It's fun times. So this is the 5th installment in the Evil Dead chain, and it was written and directed by Lee Cronin, as producer Brian has already mentioned, who is an Irish film writer and director, which I did not know that. So super fun times. And it stars Lily Sullivan, Alyssa Sutherland, Gabrielle Eccles, Morgan Davies, and Nell Fisher. So, before we get into everything that is Evil Dead Rise, producer Brian, give us those beautiful words that you always give us at the beginning of the episode.
Of course. We're on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Thank you so much for watching us. You can also find us wherever you get your social media from. So if that's TikTok, if that is Twitter, if that is Instagram, find us at Talk Horror Pod. We're almost at 15K followers on TikTok. So if you haven't followed us there yet, please do. Yeah, we do lots of fun stuff. We're reviewing all kinds of stuff there. You can see my kind of non-spoiler, succinct reviews of movies like this and other movies. We do a lot of countdowns and stuff like that, lists. So check us out there.
Succinct. I love that word. I did not know that word until I got into Hamilton. Succinct.
Is that in the show?
It's in the show. He's succinct, persuasive. I forgot what song, but that's the phrase. I can't tell you what the songs' names are anymore.
Okay.
But
Sure.
It all blends
Just
in
song.
together. It's just, it's about, I don't know, a gun and a duel. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, that's what it is.
Some guy.
Interesting.
Guy,
interesting,
Secretary of
interesting.
Treasury, people with slaves. I don't know, just things. Fun times.
Yeah.
So, Very cheery.
Very
just like this movie. Very succinct. Well, we won't be succinct about, we're going to talk about all the details in this. It's going to be wonderful. So heavy spoilers ahead for Evil Dead Rise, and probably some spoilers for some of the other movies. I know that I will be mentioning some of the stuff in the other movies. So if you have not caught up, please do take a pause, go to the movie theater, support your local theater, get some popcorn, enjoy the movie. It's a good time. And then come back and listen to us. Yeah. And Jamie, what about those trigger warnings? Yeah. Also, nice hair. Did you get your hair cut?
I did. Ooh.
She cute.
I don't know. Now it's like more Bobby, not like
Bobby.
Not like Bobby.
Bobby, baby. Bobby,
That's also where my brain went. But it's like a little shorter than normal, so I'm still trying to figure out how to style it without looking like, like someone who wants to talk to your manager. It's not that short.
No.
It makes me nervous.
Wow.
It does not look like that at all. It's gorgeous. Oh my God.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. But yes, trigger warnings.
So your trigger warnings is for angry people who want to speak to the manager. No, in this movie, hey, folks, we're back in the Evil Dead world. There are insides on the outside in so many ways. There are so many gruesome things. Trigger warnings for cheese grater. Trigger warnings for glass. Trigger warnings for slicing and dicing. For shotguns. For scalping. For
that's right.
Drones. For I'm like trying to think of like every possible thing. I said cheese grater. That was the second one I said.
I know, but I didn't bring it out. I wanted to.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Brian has his cheese grater that we used in our dinner tonight. So it's very topical.
Well, here's a life hack for everybody. If you have like cilantro or parsley and you don't want to pick up all the leaves, you stick the stem in here. And you pull it through, and all the leaves stay on top, and the stem comes out the bottom, and it's much faster and much easier. That has
Shout
been
out to TikTok.
That has been your cheese grater corner. This is your cheese grater corner for our Evil Dead Rise episode. Thank you.
Love that. I literally was gonna say, Jamie, was that a TikTok trend? Did y'all learn that from the
Yeah,
TikTok?
I learned it
was,
from
and
there.
I sent it to Brian, and he was like, "Oh my God!" And like literally any recipe that uses cilantro, he busts out the cheese grater. So,
helpful.
It's nice to see it get different uses in this film.
It really makes a difference. Yeah. In this film, you have different uses.
Well, now we know that if you're in a pickle.
There's like.
Oh no! I was just gonna say, now that we know that if you're in a pickle and you need to grab a weapon as quickly as possible, we can use a cheese grater. So,
you can.
Yeah.
It's true.
It is sharp. I've used this same cheese grater, and like it gets really close when you get your fingies. It's like, ooh, scary. Keep your fingers safe.
Keep your fingers safe. Yes.
What else have I not yet mentioned? There's so much blood. Just like buckets upon gallons of it. There's an evil elevator. If you don't like elevators, this might be spooky. There's an earthquake that happens.
Oh, that's a good one too.
There's creepy records. So if you're spooked out by records, this is not the film for you.
Yes.
And demons, deadites. That's what we're dealing with, people. And the Necronomicon is back, baby.
Yes, the deadites
wood
are
chipper.
back. Oh God, that's the main thing. It's the wood chipper.
Yeah. Also a weird like triple-bodied person demon. That end demon. Ugh. Some good stuff.
So much. Ooh. Okay. Well, aside
So
from
a lot.
that. So a lot. For the whole, hour and 30 that the movie runs, there is something crazy happening. So if you don't want to see all of that, this might not be for you. You might want to pass. So, but just listen to us talk about it, because it's still going to be a fun time, us talking about it. Grand. So you guys, I do want to talk about the fact that I had a trip to Ireland this past week. It was so much fun. I wanted to go to the spooky prison that is there, but the whole week that I was there, it was booked solid. You could not get in.
Wow.
All the times. So I was like, so next time I go, I'll have to go and see. And there's also this really nice graveyard. I forgot what the name of the graveyard is, but it's super huge and it's in Dublin. And that was also a big sight to see. But I didn't get a chance to get all the way over there. But I was actually there for my best friend's wedding, which was super fun. And Ireland is beautiful. It was rainy, maybe like 60% of the time, but still the vibes are so just chill there, and everyone is so nice and
It's not bad.
helpful. And yeah, no, it's not bad. And actually the day of the wedding was gorgeous outside. So it was really nice that at least that day it was nice. And the wedding was in Killarney, which was a beautiful place. So we got to kind of do a little hike over there, see some things over in Killarney, and of course, went to the Temple Bar in Dublin and went to the Irish Whiskey Museum, which was super nice. And wow, that whiskey is very, very strong. And I could not even do the tiny taste test of it because it was a lot.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I was like, wow, I suck. I wish that I could hold my liquor better, but I can't. And that's okay. I've accepted that about myself, something to talk to therapy about.
That is
it's fine.
okay.
Yes. But otherwise, it was really great. Have you guys ever had Powers whiskey or heard of Powers whiskey?
I feel like I've heard of it. I may have had it, but it doesn't stand out like when you say it.
Okay. Yeah. So in the Whiskey Museum, they give you like a historical kind of like rundown of everything that happens. And so like Jameson is the whiskey that kind of made it to the States. But Powers is what they actually drink in Ireland. So it was, the kind that I had at the Whiskey Museum was harsh, but when I actually went to a bar and just had another kind of Powers whiskey, it was delightful. Mm-hmm. So if you ever have the opportunity to try Powers whiskey, it's a fun time. Also, if you just have the opportunity to go to Ireland, it's great. Love it. 10 out of 10. I went there one time before when I was a teacher years ago and took my students there. So this time I didn't have to chaperone kids and I could run around and drink and do all the things. It was really fun.
Big difference.
Fun time. Big difference. Big party. Lots of alcohol, and it was great. And I got to see college friends I hadn't seen in a while. So,
That's wonderful.
Fun times. Yes. But yeah, I also heard, this is like unrelated and I can't segue into this, but you guys tell me about Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah, so we binged the heck out of, Jamie had seen it before. This was my first viewing, Ash versus Evil Dead. It leaves Netflix on April 28th. So we were powering through it. That's your segue. We powered through. We power whiskeyed through that.
Power whiskey. There was no whiskey drinking involved.
No. But we still have the season 3 finale to watch, and that's the last episode. So I'm just like savoring it. It's, that feeling of like, if I don't finish it, then it still exists. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we will.
So you can still hang out with your friends.
Yeah, but we will watch it before it expires on Netflix. But I had a great time, like an absolutely delightful time. And while I will say the seasons, none of the seasons are bad, but I definitely think that they go down in quality story-wise, or they get more convoluted as the seasons go on. But they're always similar to Evil Dead Rise. Every single action sequence, every single kind of deadite reveal, everything, the blood, the guts, the gore, is always being topped in every single season. There have been some sequences that truly have made me belly laugh. There have been some sequences that have really disgusted me in the best way possible. And I cannot speak highly enough about this props and production department on this show. The makeup, everything, really, really impressive. Everybody seems like they're having an absolute blast making this show. And it makes me sad that that's it. But also, that's cool that it's it. Because as we'll talk about this, in the Evil Dead franchise lives very well. The Evil Dead chain is in good hands. If you can watch this, I would suggest watching it. Really fun. Spoiler alert, it's my suggestion at the end of this episode.
What?
Nice. Okay. Wonderful. Which, gosh, I don't think I even put a suggestion, and I didn't. I have to think of one. Okay. Grand. So let's get into it with a 2-minute plot summary, and I will volunteer as tribute because I have to redeem myself from the 2013 Evil Dead whatever.
Yes, agreed.
What's the plot?
We're going to make this work. I'm an actor. I can do this. I am enough. We can make it work.
We believe in you.
I believe in you.
Whoa. What are you saying? Whoa. Oh my God. All right.
Brian's out to get me. Yeah, it's okay. Great. Let's do it.
No.
He's got the cheese grater.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't get it right, you get graded.
Ooh.
I'm gonna grade you.
Grade you.
Yeah.
Actual grade.
Oh, God.
Love
I'll see
it.
myself out.
All right. Anyway, 2 minutes on the clock. Evil Dead Rise. Go.
So the movie opens with the Evil Dead doing its thing, running around in the forest. We go to a cabin. There is a girl who is already possessed by the little demon spirit, and she scalps her cousin and her boyfriend. And then it goes into the best title card ever of her rising up and the Evil Dead sign coming up. It was so fantastic. And so then we cut to a girl named Beth, who is a guitar maintenance person. She's on the road. She finds out that she's pregnant. And so she's like, oh shit, let me go to my sister because I don't know what to do. Her sister has 3 kids, which I will refer to as just older, middle, and younger kid, okay? And so Beth goes to her sister trying to figure it out, but then her sister has an issue because they're going to get kicked out of their apartment. And then bam, there is an earthquake. And so there's a hole in the little garage, and the kids go and they find this book with some records, and of course it's the Book of the Dead. And so because the oldest child loves records, he plays the record. Great. He plays the record. And then the whole incantation comes out and possesses the mom, Ellie. And so then Ellie ends up going after the middle child, and the middle child gets possessed. The middle child goes after the oldest child gets possessed. And so then now there's just Beth and the youngest child. And so then all the people that Ellie has killed along with the other 2 kids meld together, and they're trying to kill everyone. And then Beth kind of lures them into I was going to say cheese grater, a wood chipper. And so lures her into the wood chipper, and then crushes half of her, but then there's only Ellie's head left. And so then Beth takes a chainsaw to Ellie's head and then goes through the wood chipper completely. And so then you think everything is fine, and then we get to the girl who we saw at the beginning who was possessed, and she's on her way to the trip, and the little Evil Dead kind of comes in and gets to her, and then the movie ends, and that is it. Evil Dead Rise.
That was perfect.
Bam.
That's literally stopped at the right time. You absolutely 100% redeemed yourself on that one.
Yes.
Kicking
Fantastic.
butt, taking names.
And that's the plot.
Yes, and of course we'll talk about all of the actual gore and the things we like, because I would love to know which of the scenes was your best kind of kill, quote unquote, or your best kind of gory moments in this. But God, there was just so many. So let's get into it with our first segment of likes and gripes.
And now our likes and gripes.
Beauty. So obviously this is all of our first time watching this movie, and we have already covered the 4 previous Evil Dead movies. So this is really interesting to watch this with all of the knowledge that we have of all of the other movies, or at least that's how I felt. So Jamie, do you want to start off with our likes and gripes?
Sure. As the lover of this chain, I had a great time. I'm very happy with this movie. And like Brian was saying, I feel like this chain is in very good hands. Moving forward, I feel very positively that it's going to continue to be a very successful chain moving forward. I really like the cast of characters that we're presented with. I love the focus on family. And like we're just shifting from like a group of friends to a family, and like, you know, their relationships with one another, strained and whatnot. I was really curious, like at the beginning when it started, of like, how do we end up in this? Like, I know it takes place in an apartment building, so like, why are we starting in the cabin?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's a really great way. Like, I think that it was smart because it knows that like fans of this series are like, I want cabin, give me cabin, and like,
Sure.
That's where we start. And so they're like giving us the opener of like, it's taking place in the spooky cabin. We know like shit's about to go down, and it does. And then we shift into like, here's this like reimagining of, you know, what's going to happen here in this apartment building. That scalping was like disgusting. And I loved it. And it was such a great, everyone gasped. And laughed a lot in like the best of ways. In the movie theater.
I don't think people were in our theater specifically. I'll speak to our experience, Jamie. I don't think people are expecting it to get that gory and brutal that quickly.
Yeah, I mean it.
Nice. It
very much feels like it's channeling. So like, I'll get into this more later, but it definitely is channeling like the Evil Dead 2013 vibe a lot.
Yes.
But I think like going right for the extreme gore and like intense horror, I thought was a really great start. So like, I definitely wasn't expecting the scalping and was just like, oh my God, or like the decapitated guy. And then like that title card. I know Brian loves a good title card, and this was a great one.
That's my first note on my likes, the title card.
His title card.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
It was great. I mean, there's always going to be the frustration. I think like as a podcast, as a mental health professional, there's always going to be like how do we get to the point of the story? And whenever we're always going to complain whenever there's a character who's doing a series of things that like, we just know they shouldn't be doing. Mm-hmm. There is an earthquake that just hit your dilapidated apartment building. Why are you going in a hole? Why are you going in a hole? I think like I just made hand gestures while sitting in the theater.
Lots of hand gestures.
I was just like, I like did a lot of that. I was just like, I just cannot fathom a world. I'm like, fine, I get it. You're a young person. Your prefrontal cortex is not fully formed. Why are you going in that fucking hole? An earthquake just hit your building. Like, honestly, I'm surprised that the building was still standing based on like how like condemned it's supposed to be. Yeah. But like, why do you think going in the hole in the garage? I couldn't get over the hole. It felt way stupider than like a lot of the other conceits of how people get to the Necronomicon and like read the thing. But I will say one of the things that's like a slight redemption in my opinion is I'm so glad that they actually had the records instead of somebody trying to read this book, because the thing of the book is that it's supposed to be in Sumerian. They talk way more about that like in the show and things like that, but like who casual people who can read this? Like no one can read that. Right. So I like that they shifted it and made it like something that somebody else read out loud. And like the kid just like he couldn't help himself to listen to it, but then he couldn't stop it from playing. I really liked that because like if you know what you're doing at that point, like he's like, oh, this is bad, and then doesn't want to continue going into it, but like at that point you can't stop. Yeah. And like I liked that, but like really I like that slight change of like, I'm glad no one's attempting to read this book because no one can read this book. So that slightly made me feel a little bit better, but I'm just like, the series of like holes that you're going into, and then like, there's a like a grave that's partially open and you're going to dig your hand in there and pull something out. Like, what if it was a body? Like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
That truly made me really mad. And no one's going to do that.
Yeah. I'll also say, if we're talking about the mistakes of the oldest, One thing that I also liked about this movie, since we're talking about it, is that the second that there was a break in the action, he told everybody what he thinks it was. Unlike 2013, where the friends kind of like, well, oh, I guess I'm just gonna keep this to myself. Like the second that they had a moment where the mom gets locked outside, I forget what point in the movie it was, but that second, the oldest is like, hey, I kind of had to tell everybody this. Like, I appreciated that.
Right.
Yeah. I'm glad that people are like, being open about what role they're playing in the destruction of, the world and whatnot. So,
totally
good for you. Danny gets a gold star, but also immediately gets it taken away for going in a hole in the first place. So, not great. What else did I like? I mean, all of the gruesomeness of like that continues. Like I almost thought that the glass scene was worse than the cheese grater because I kind of knew about the cheese grater because enough people had just alluded without. It was like one of those like no context spoilers that started trending on all the social media that I peruse. I saw a lot about the cheese grater, so I knew it was going to happen, and I could surmise like what it was going to look like. I was not expecting not only eating the glass, but a close-up of watching the glass slowly going down her throat was fucking gross and vile, and I loved it. Oh my God. That was so good. Just really unpleasant to look at. So really appreciated that. Really appreciated the that broken broom handle that then went through her head.
Oh, Staffanie!
You knew that something was going to happen.
Staffanie.
Yeah.
Staffanie! We love Staffanie.
I love that Staffanie, played her part, and it was like Schrodinger's Staffanie, where she plays a very important role in protruding through someone.
No, Chekhov's Staffanie.
Oh, Chekhov's, but that was really great. And I mean, I think my biggest is Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie, as the mom. It's clear that she had a true blast being the main Deadite, and I loved watching like what she did with her body. She just like really put her all into it, and I feel like it really it hit in a very similar way that Jane Levy's character when her character is possessed in 2013.
Mia?
Like that's a very similar vibe. What you say, Brian?
Is her name Mia?
Oh yeah, Mia.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, like I feel like it was
Mama.
a very similar
Mama and Mia. Oh my God, we cracked the code.
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia.
Here I go again.
Oh, there we go. Wow,
God.
we just solved Evil Dead. We solved Evil Dead. Mamma Mia. Here we go. I hope the next one's called like Evil Dead.
Again.
Here we go.
Here we go again. Oh my God.
Yes. Fantastic. 10 out of 10.
Someone get Sam Raimi on the phone right now.
Right now.
Yeah, the SOS. So many songs we can put in here.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I loved like huge shout out to Alyssa Sutherland. Even though again, another gripe is like too much trailer reveal. Somebody needs to talk to whoever's editing these trailers and like just put less. I don't want to know. I want to see it in the movie. Put less. But like I was still creeped out, when she's like mommies with the maggots, even though we got that in the trailer. But like she's just very unsettling and like so creaky, cracky. And yeah, I would love to hang out with her as a Deadite.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Okay.
Her and Mia, and then good old Mabel. Let's throw Mabel in there too from the VHS.
VHS
party.
I love Mabel.
Yeah, I mean we are big Mabel fans here.
Yeah, Mabel
Yes.
and Ratma. If I could have a party and invite any guests, I would invite Mabel and Ratma.
Yeah, if you could have a dinner party with any horror, Ratma, Mabel, Megan,
Right,
Ratma,
Megan,
Mabel, Megan,
Pennywise for me. Sorry. Yes.
This would be a good event.
It'd be good
I'm gonna start on my invites.
Oh my god. Your Evites.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
What's his name from what's the demon from Paranormal Activity?
Oh.
Oh my god.
Toby.
Toby, of course.
Yeah,
Toby.
absolutely.
Oh wait, and last one.
I couldn't not think of Mika.
Oh, that's what I was thinking too. It was Mika, but
not
HBO Gabriel.
No, he will not be
Go
on my
Gabriel, go.
Oh yes.
Gabriel. His backward walk.
I just want to see Gabriel like trying to cut his steak.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Well, on that note, Brian, do you want to continue with your likes and gripes of this movie?
Oh yeah, sure. I loved the drone fake out at the beginning that you think it's the demon. Similarly to 2013, you think that the girl is the victim when really she is the Deadite. And in this one, you think the Deadite is coming, but really it's already there, and it's the drone. I thought that was fun and clever. The scalp, as we mentioned. I loved when she rips off the boyfriend's head. His head is still twitching on the dock. I thought that was really cool. Just the makeup in general in this movie is spectacular. Something we didn't talk about also is the scissor up the nose.
Ooh, yeah.
Again, the Chekhov scissor, because she throws it under
the table. Yeah. It made me feel like I needed to clear out my sinuses.
I know.
When I saw that.
And then we had the knife in the arm. The oldest in the kitchen with the knife in the arm was great.
Yeah.
I thought all of the exposition and setup in this movie was excellent. You have like the building, you have the wood chipper that you see in the garage. Then this building is old, so not everything works. It's being demolished, so like people aren't paying attention to it. You have that room at the end of the hallway that is locked. That the apartment, because they need to get there to the fire escape. Then you have the earthquake being so big that it kind of destroys the cell towers, or like they can't get cell reception. Then the stairs collapse, very similar to the bridge collapsing in the other movies. So you have that. So like you really have the cat being in the air ducts. So you have that set up as well. Like all of that was just like. It was really set up so that once we got into the action, I wasn't questioning why they couldn't leave that floor. Why? Also, it's raining out and they're high up. They can't yell to other people because they can't hear them. Like all of that was just like perfectly set up in general. Plus, it's a little bit two-dimensional, but we got like sad mother. We got kids who are just like super cool and independent. We have like. Sister who's like does her own thing, is a groupie, and all. Like you set that up, but like it makes us fall in love with them a little bit more. I really liked that. They, like Jamie said, they didn't read it; they listened to the record. It just all justified, like in 2013, like in terms of like with Mia and the trying to get clean. This one, just like the mom kind of like already being kind of a shell of herself because the husband left, allowed for some of that to like read a little bit easier, even though they caught on very, very quickly, just in general. I thought it kept the tone of Evil Dead in general, but obviously matched 2013. I thought something I really liked is when she sniffs the pregnancy. That, and I thought that, to me, that really bothered me, like in terms of like making me feel weird, where she's like, two souls or whatever she says. I thought the acting was incredible all around. I really liked that we dispensed of everybody in the other apartments in that one sequence through the peephole. I thought that like was really effective and like happened all at once, and just like that was a sequence. We didn't need to spread them out throughout. The hallway scene in general, the Dead Before Dawn, obviously is a callback to Evil Dead 2. The eyeball being a callback to Evil Dead when the eye gets pumped into someone else's mouth. I really liked that. I thought it was interesting. Again, women are the first ones to be taken over, but again, we talk about the for the penetration of a woman with whatever is happening to them in terms of in Evil Dead, it's the trees. In Evil Dead 2, it's the trees. And then, in 2013 it's the trees. And in this one, we have the elevator wires. But they don't even have a shot of like the wire creeping up her leg. If you're an Evil Dead fan, you know what just happened because you can assume that. If you're not, it doesn't matter because like it's just her being trapped and like being whatever the case may be. So I thought that was really effective. Although women were not the first to be taken over in the recording, because I think they say that the other priest had been taken over, and I believe that all the priests were men. Also, the secondary priest was Bruce Campbell.
Oh yeah, I saw something that said that it was him, because I think that they want it to be like a time displaced Ash, like when he goes, into medieval times, like maybe it's another version of him in another timeline.
On that note, I like that they said that this is one of the 3 Necronomicons, so it allows for everything to possibly be in the same world and why they all look different. I love the design of this Necronomicon, that that you poke yourself on the teeth that closes it, and that's the blood that goes on there. I like that the chain on the door was kind of like the chain on the cellar, and I also like that the entrance down into the tomb, the vault, was square like the cellar. If you notice, the pizza box at Henrietta's Pizza, which is the name of the Deadite from the second one, or the first one, or Henrietta is there. The eye in the mouth we talked about. Come and get some, obviously. And some other things. If you think about it, this is the first original Evil Dead movie really since Army of Darkness, because technically 2013 is just a fancy remake of the original. So this is kind of a new one, and I really like that it proved itself in one-offs. I'm so happy that these don't have to be sequels. These are amazing. These are amazing movies to just be standalone movies, and I really appreciate that. I also like that nobody was turned back. I like that there are no survivors once the Deadite gets you in this movie, unlike Mia in the other one. And both a like and a gripe for this movie is I like the stupid mistakes. The stupid mistakes to me is Evil Dead. And so while they bother me from like oh my God, why are you doing, from a Jamie hand gesture perspective, I get it. But on the other side, like I expect those stupid mistakes in an Evil Dead movie, specifically an Evil Dead movie. I loved this movie. However, I have a significant amount of gripes. I think that almost all of the setup never pays off. The thematic elements of this movie, her being pregnant, the mother saying, bring back, don't let them take my kids. All of that, I think the themes in this are super convoluted. Is it about family? Are we saying that like the mom didn't do a good job without the father? Like, are we saying that? I don't really know what this movie was trying to say about motherhood and family. I don't think this movie necessarily knows what it's trying to say about that. And all of these threads just don't really pay off in the end. Like, okay, so she's not choosing to be a mother. Now she has to be the mother. Like, it's just her being pregnant, empathizing. Like, I just don't think it paid off in the end. And that, whereas I think in the 2013 one, it does pay off because the brother who has been absent and feels responsible for the mother's death and all of that stuff ends up being able to give his life for his sister's life and kind of pay off his debt to her. And I think that this one didn't kind of have any of that, and that kind of bothered me a little bit. I forgot to look for the car. I don't think the car's in it, but the Delta 88. But the car is. So two things. I don't like that the car is not in it, even though their car is yellow. And I really don't like that the movie didn't end with Bruce Campbell saying "groovy." That weirdly bothered me because like that's the thing that to me that's like the thing in these one-offs that like will connect all of it. Just like he's always there. I don't know. I wanted that at the end as an after credits thing. I actually think that the book ending it didn't really do it for me. I don't think that I got anything from like this just being another person in the apartment. I just think that wasn't at the end of that wasn't fun to me because like we kind of know that what's going to happen already, but I liked the opening. I just don't think I needed the end. I don't think it was like dynamic enough or interesting enough. To me, it was actually a letdown from the high that the end of that movie brought to me, where they're about to leave and then she grabs the chainsaw. I also I think the oldest, put the coin in his pocket. He took one of the coins and put it in his pocket. I don't know why that didn't come back. You know, I thought that was going to be like that's how they can turn back type of thing. That seemed weird. I may have also just like put one and two things together for myself. Also, something that really bothered me is it's a big to-do that the girl has to put on her goggles because she doesn't like not knowing what's under the water. Totally fine. That relates to the opening sequence. That relates to, but then the elevator fills up with blood, which was awesome. And they kind of didn't, to me, that was a great moment for her aunt to be like, hey, like, listen, I know you don't know what's going to be under the blood, but like, just stick with me. It was a good moment for her to be a mother because they set that up, and like, it just kind of is thrown to the wayside, and that kind of bothered me a little bit. I just think that this movie missed a lot of character beats once it all got started. But I will say, the second that the Sam Raimi iconic tracking shot came in, when it's going up to the house and it hits the mother in the elevator, that I was filled with the exhilaration of being on a roller coaster and going down that first drop. You're anticipating it the whole first half hour, and then you get to it, and the rest of that movie is a nonstop roller coaster ride. You go from sequence to sequence that just like takes your breath away. And even though the cheese grater sequence I knew was coming, that was my favorite moment because I didn't think that it would get to me because I knew it was coming, and it was the cringiest moment for me.
Yeah. No, go ahead. I thought you were going to say more. That's it? Okay.
I'll save my quotes. I'll save my quotes for the end of the episode.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved everything about this movie. And I'll piggyback, Brian, off of your gripes and just say that some of that character stuff didn't bother me because I don't think I was looking for it in these kinds of movies anyway. But I will say the one thing that was the most questionable was the whole Beth being pregnant thing, because that never really kind of came back in a way that I thought that it would, because of how much they harped on it. Because there could have been a myriad of other reasons why she would go back to her sister. It didn't have to be like because she is pregnant and then whatever. But everything else I did not mind at all as far as just character stuff, because you're engrossed in what you're saying, Brian. When the ride gets started, like, it's nonstop, and so I just was enjoying the ride the whole time, without having to think about super character developments or their relationships and stuff. Because in being new to Evil Dead and just watching it, like, this is hands down my favorite one that I have seen, because everything else, has set it up to where I just want to see the gore and everything, and I wanted to just see if there were things from the previous movies that I can now, like you mentioned, Brian, and I don't even think she also said "swallow your souls," which I thought that was really awesome that they said that phrase in it, and just seeing all the different Easter eggs. And so For me, I had a blast, and I absolutely would not have appreciated this movie as much if I had not watched the other ones. I feel like I probably would have been even more confused at the styling of the camera shots and the angles and stuff if this was the first Evil Dead movie that I saw. But because it's not, thank you guys, I loved it.
Do you
gore? No, sorry. Go ahead.
I have a question for you. Having seen now Evil Dead 2013 and Evil Dead Rise, do you feel like you appreciate the old ones more as well?
Yeah, hands down, absolutely. And like I said, I got on board with our medieval Dead Evil Times chain, and
sure.
I loved that one, and so that kind of brought me on board with everything else. And so then now seeing all the remakes and everything, it's like, okay, well, I like the callbacks of all of these different things because it's always fun to kind of just be in the know. And my expectations weren't as high, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's like I know kind of what to expect. And so truly what it really felt like is this whole chain, us watching all these movies, it felt like I was watching one long movie that had a super, super slow start, but absolutely nailed the end. And everything came back around and everything made sense and it was wonderful. And so then that changed my entire perspective of the whole movie. Like, that's how I felt. And that's how I feel now with this chain. It's like watching all of these in this order, especially watching this past one, I am now like on board for the whole thing, like the whole chain in general. Because it's just fun and it's gory. And of course, I love anything gory, bloody, all the things. Especially that elevator scene was one of my favorite things because it was very like The Shining-esque, which I also enjoyed that movie. Also, I had a dream about falling in an elevator, and that is not fun. I don't wish that upon anybody because that was super real.
After this movie, or that's a recurring nightmare you have? Oh, damn.
No. After this movie, I had a very vivid, felt it in my bones dream of falling in an elevator. And there was no blood, but that was not a fun feeling. So I don't wish that upon anybody. So I can't imagine.
Daniel, back at it again.
Exactly. Filled with blood. That whole sequence was my favorite. And you've already said all of the gory scalping, everything, but I will say my favorite kind of like killing moment was the Staffanie. I thought that was pretty great, and like you said, Brian, the setup of it, because the stick was broken at the beginning, and so you just have the sharp edge, and then it like comes in at the end of being able to impale the middle child, which was creepy. And I actually do love that they come back at the end and go to the scene with the girl that we see at the beginning, because then it just all kind of makes sense. I love that it was, this is what is happening now, and this is what happened the day before to get you to this point. And so here we are connecting the dots. I love shit like that. So I thought that was wonderful. It didn't take away the ending for me. And I'm also glad, like in these movies, or at least in the other movies, they're always trying to, and I think Brian or Jamie already mentioned this, they're trying to change people back. But I just love that Beth immediately kind of realized that her sister was not going to come back and just put that chainsaw in her skull and said, yeah, this is it. Like, you are gone. I'm not going to try to find a way to save you. Like, we're already at this point of like, it's done. It's done. And it's because like in the last movie, it all led up to, Mia getting actually revived. But I just like that it's like, yeah, you're possessed. Love you, mean it. I already know that you're gone. So peace out. This is it.
And
I'm not going to let you kill other people. Yeah.
And as Jamie mentioned, I really liked that they all combined into one. Like the moments when they're trying to, when they're going into her to like connect with her, I just thought that it was amazing. And just like, again, the Evil Dead franchise, the Evil Dead chain, one-upping itself. Like this Deadite, like turning into an ultimate Deadite.
Yeah, that's literally what was my next point was going to be of what I liked is that, because I don't think we really, it's okay. We're all like the same things. I was trying to see if I remembered
this whole episode of Evil Dead Rise. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. Well, so we haven't seen that, right? In the other movies. I remember when all the skeletons kind of came together in the medieval thing, but it wasn't like bodies coming together to form like this evil entity. So that was really cool that it happened this go around. Yeah, I love the fact that it was a record as well, because the kid likes records, and of course he's gonna like play it because he's obsessed with it. I thought that it was a good setup. I liked that kind of through line story of finding the stuff than some of the other ones. Yeah, everything was great. Loved it. The only gripe that I will say that I had has nothing to do with the movie. It has to do with social media, because we follow all the horror things, and someone posted the title card video of this, and so I
saw that, and I was like, what the hell?
Exactly. And it's just so annoying. Yeah, because I know I would have loved it even more if I didn't see it. And so I'm just mad at social media for that. Just let people watch the movie. It's the opening weekend too, guys. It's like, come on, at least give it like 2 weeks. Then if you want to post stuff. And I also no, go ahead.
That just reminded me of I was listening to this Vulture podcast about spoilers, because they were talking about the Succession spoiler that people were like losing it over, which I will not spoil, but they were talking about like, when is the appropriate amount of time, like how much time do you give before you just like share stuff without warning? But like, yeah, I think that like within the first weekend, give people time to see the thing. I feel like a week is like, I would prefer longer probably, but like I think a week is a healthy amount of time to give people before you start posting stuff. Like people work. Hello, if we could all just sit in the movie theaters and like watch movies all day, then like some of us would, but we all can't.
A dream. Sounds like a dream. But I would say spoilers. Listen, conservatively, liberally, I would say spoilers on like a Monday, Tuesday. Conservatively, I think you should wait to do spoilers like a week or 2 out. But the way that everything works is there's a new movie every weekend. So like, and a popular movie every weekend. So like realistically, like, you see the first weekend, boom, you're on to the next movie and whatnot. But like, I think Monday, Tuesday spoilers are okay for movies. For TV shows, I think you get a couple days. I don't know. It's a fascinating conversation. I don't know, but also you have to police yourself. Like, listen, if I know, I know that I can't see Evil Dead until Tuesday. I have to limit my social media intake, because like I will get spoiled. I will.
Which is just
because people are duty heads.
Ridiculous. Yes, people are duty heads. And even, again, another gripe, which has nothing to do with movies, just the movie theater experience, which always reminds me that I am an introvert at heart, 24/7, because I hate it. There was somebody recording the same title card, like right in front of me on their phone.
Really?
And I was like, what are you doing? Why are you recording this stuff? And then there was somebody who was like watching something or playing a video like all through the credits, all and through the opening trailers until the movie started. Like loud on their phone, just playing a video until the movie started.
Theater etiquette.
Wait, did I ever tell you speaking of Sam Raimi and Evil Dead, when I saw Drag Me to Hell in movie theaters, I was in a theater with like very rambunctious. I'm going to sound like an old person in this, but I was in a theater with a lot of rambunctious teenagers. Like it was a beach town weekend. Like we were seeing the movie, and just like literally, I've never been in a more poorly behaved theater. Everybody was talking. People were throwing popcorn at each other at like rows in front. I was just getting so livid, and I actually went out twice to the manager being like, this theater is crazy. And he's like, listen, I'll give you a handful of free movie tickets. I can't like kick out an entire theater. Like, and he was honest with me. I was like, but my friend and I stayed, Gary and I stayed. And then the person behind me answered the phone.
No.
And they answered their cell phone. And I turned around and I said, "You're going to be on the phone? Give it to me." I said, "Give me your cell phone." I said, "Give me your phone right now. If you're going to answer, if you can't be trusted with a phone in a movie theater, you have to give me the phone right now." And Gary had to be like, "Listen, you're going to have to put that away or he's going to absolutely snap. You're going to have to shut up and put that away." And the kid got scared for sure. And so
yes,
I just did a TikTok
so
about
funny.
First watches. Like, I wish I could get my first watch of that movie back. I wish I could watch it again for the first time because I love that movie, but that first watch was like absolutely ruined.
which is the worst. It's like, come on, guys, you're there to watch a movie, and if you want to go and talk, there are so many other places that you can converse,
Like your living
So
room.
literally anywhere else.
Anywhere
Literally
else.
anywhere else.
I mean,
Anywhere
the people
else.
next to me during this movie were talking, but they were whispering about the movie and they were having a good time. I've been able over my years to like let things go. Some things I can't, but other things I can. For instance, like the people next to me were talking, but they were talking about the movie. They were having a fun time. They were gasping. They were screaming. Like, and so I let it go because like they were interacting with the movie as opposed to just like talking about like, oh, like their taxes. I don't know, you know.
yeah, or anything. Yeah, it's just super annoying, guys. Don't be that person. Like, if you want to go and see a movie,
Don't be a
actually
duty
watch
head.
it. Don't be a duty head.
don't be a duty.
Just excuse yourself. Like, there was a girl in front of me who was just on her phone the whole time, and so her screen is bright in this dark, theater, and it's like you're in this movie theater and you're just on your phone the whole time, just scrolling through whatever. It's like, you can just do that at home. Why'd you pay money to be here to scroll on your phone? Hate it. Anyway, I wish that I could have my rewatch of that without knowing anything, number one, from social media, and without people being duty heads, because I really had a good time, but I was also just trying to not yell at people. So
Yeah.
fun times.
Duty head central.
All in all, though, love it. No notes from me. It was wonderful. The gore is fantastic. Love it all. So, anybody else have anything else for the likes and gripes?
No, I will say that none of the gripes undercut how much I truly enjoy this movie.
Fantastic.
I had so much fun. Also, the monster thing is called the Marauder, and I just really wanted to say that because I think that's a wild.
At the end,
Yeah.
the Marauder. It sounds like
Okay.
It says that the director and screenwriter wanted to give a physical shape. I think this is really interesting. They wanted to give a physical shape to some aspects of raising a child and the way that a parent might see their kids and parenting itself, which is like very real and something that I talk to clients about. So I really appreciate that that's like the amalgamation that they created from that vision in their head.
Yeah. No, that's
Cool.
That's super cool.
I love that.
Love that. Well, let's segue
Marauder
since
sounds like an
you.
old wooden ship.
Oh, wooden ship.
Talk about brains.
Let's talk about the brains in our next section. Brains. Tasty.
Delicious. Tasty.
I don't know.
What a song.
Yes, Fergalicious, I think, is what the song is.
It is Fergalicious.
Grand. So let's talk about all of the brains in this. Sometimes I feel like when I think about questions, it ends up being a Kevin's Corner in my brain. Shout out to Broadway State Podcast, because I think of an idea, but then I have to get to a question. And so my brain will just think about, work-life balance because of Beth. But then I'm thinking like, okay, well, what about Beth? She's like so messed up, and she couldn't even answer her sister's phone call, or even just listen to the voicemail, because she's listening to the voicemail when she's at the house. And it's like, girl, you've had this for 5 months. Ellie said that she called her 5 months ago, but she was just so kind of engrossed in the performance world, or trying to, break into her career so that she's not considered a groupie. So then that had me thinking, well, what kind of person is that? So my question to you, Jamie, is the long way around all of that is, can Beth's behavior be described as like a certain type of person, like negligent or whatever, or is she just like a terrible sister?
Oh,
Terrible sister.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we only get pieces of their relationship dynamic. There were some things that Beth had alluded to about like what Elle's role was, of like, oh, like you were the one that I always went to like help me like, deal with things or like navigate challenging times. Which like, then it seems like Elle has taken on this role of being the one that gets leaned on, and Beth is the one that gets to do the leaning. And so like in this, the roles are essentially reversed because like Elle is the one who gets possessed and needs Beth to take care of her kids. And so I don't know if it's necessarily that she's like a crappy person or if there's some way to describe her, but like, and I don't think they ever talk about like who's older. Do they ever say that, like which sibling is older or younger?
I don't know. There may be a line in there like someone may have like expositioned my little sister or something like that, but in my personal opinion, from their interacting, actually Nikisha's the actress, from their interactions, Nikisha, and the script and how they related to each other, who would you say is the older one and who would you say is the younger one?
I mean, I hate to just base this off of like maternity, but it feels like Ellie is thanks. Ellie is the older one because she has the kids, but also has like this motherly kind of hold over her sister. Like when Beth comes, it's like Beth is the one that can be the younger one and like be out on tour and do whatever she wants, not just because she doesn't have responsibilities and no kid, but maybe just because like that's younger, personality type. And so Beth is also the one that's in trouble and like going to Ellie, as opposed to, I feel like if Beth was the older of the one, she would kind of try to handle something herself. And I don't know, that might be going more into like mental Jamie territory, but it just feels like if you are the older person, you are figuring out stuff by yourself because like you were there first before your siblings. And so then when your siblings come, you're the one taking care of them. Me speaking as an only child, but just from seeing dynamics, it would seem that like Beth would be the younger person. I don't know. Do you agree, disagree, Jamie?
Yeah. No, I do agree. Like, I think that's kind of the vibe that they give off, even without them explicitly stating who's older and who's younger.
Yeah.
Not that, birth order is not like a definitive thing, but at least, I'm not like no huge birth order person, but like I do think that it's interesting what type of roles that they then take on, and like it then gives Beth the convenience of being able to live her life however she wants to without having to think about like others being like needing something or needing help, and like it frees up her life. And so like it, whatever conclusion you want to draw from that, I think speaks more to like her situation. Like she also like her job is one that she's on the road all of the time and just like in constant movement. Like there's a lack of like stability there. And so how does that then also make it, like how does that, like you can probably speak on just like, what does it look like to constantly be in flux, and do you feel like people are leaning on you? Do you feel like you're leaning on other people, or like when you're in need or when other people are in need? And like how do you balance that when like you might not consistently be around? That's not like speaking, I mean, I think that you're an incredibly compassionate and empathetic and caring person because you're Cancer and we vibe the same way. But like I don't think that speaks to you not being compassionate. It's just like that's just part of like the career path that you're on. Like it doesn't mean that you don't care. So like how one might be balancing like, maintaining relationships with people, like I feel like that's an important thing to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely when you don't have a sense of stability within your environment, how can you take the time to think about, be considerate of, in the most general sense, you know, other people around you, or be someone that
General sense.
general that you can, that somebody can lean on you, because like they can't lean on you, you're moving somewhere else, you know, like in the most like physical sense of like you're here, you're there, you're somewhere else, blah 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 blah, and it's like you're just trying to take care of yourself at that point. Because everything around you is so chaotic. So I think Ellie being in one spot, it's like that's the stability right there. And so if Beth needed some stability, it's like you go to there, because they're already, you know, situated nicely, except that she gets there and they're not situated nicely because they're about to lose their apartment. But so the next question that I have for you, Jamie, is on another general gist sense of how can you assess for yourself when it's the right time to stop helping someone that you care for. And I'm speaking to this in regards to, at the very end, the point that I mentioned of liking in this movie is that Beth realizes that Ellie is long gone and she can't help her anymore. So she has to just wood chip her away. But how can you, in any kind of like personal relationship, just assess like, I can't help you anymore?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I feel like there's no like definitive point where it's like, here it is. Now I know for sure that like we've hit the point of no return. And I think like, you know, I think about change a lot, because I think like it's pretty core to the work that I do, and like people's own ability and capacity to change. And like ultimately it comes from within. There's like influence that like people can have over like how much you want to change, but like the actual like steps have to come from you. There has to be that like internal connection for you. I think things might be a little bit more complicated when you're possessed, but I think that you know, like also evaluating how is this going to impact you, like your involvement in somebody else, like changing or not, something that is problematic. Is it like draining and so taxing, and like you have to put your own needs on the back burner because you're prioritizing this other person's needs and like trying to help them with their stuff, that then you're not able to address your own stuff? And like, is that then, you know, causing you harm? Like, I think you have to check in with yourself to see like, what impact is this having on me to like continue to put my whole self into this? And it's okay. Like it's okay to reflect and be like, I can't keep doing this. Like it's
yes.
harmful for me to continue to do this. Because like, who better to look out for you than you? Yes. You can put all of the resources, all of the information, like, you know, give everyone anything that they need in order to be successful. But ultimately it's on that individual to actually like want that thing. Even if they say that they want it, it's another thing to actually take the steps. So I think that like at any point, if you're like, I feel like I've put everything out there and like supported you in this, that at any point you can say like, I can no longer put your needs above my own. And I feel like that's a very like appropriate boundary to set, especially if
literally
like
what I was thinking of is the word boundary. It's like that is screaming at me.
Boundaries,
it's like, make sure you place your boundaries, guys.
Boundaries. I used to sing a boundary song with one of my supervisees in supervision, because we would always talk about boundaries. I will never not. I fully accept that my career revolves around talking about boundaries, and like that's just the life that I lead now, is always talking about boundaries.
But can we hear the song one more time? Oh, great, you're singing. Yes, sing the song. Sing the song.
Oh no, it was just like boundaries with like the person's name. So it's like boundaries with Jamie.
Yes. Love it. Am obsessed with it, and will now sing it from now on. Anytime.
Yeah.
Boundaries. Absolutely. So my last question, and this is just kind of like a funny haha thing, but I was thinking about motherhood and it kind of being thrust upon you with Beth now kind of, not Beth being pregnant, but like Beth having to take care of her niece now that she doesn't have anyone. And now that they have been succumbed to the Deadites. But based off of the movie information, if you were their court-ordered child protective service therapist, however that works, would you allow Beth to take care of the younger child?
I think there would definitely have to be like some conversations about like who's going to watch this child, just given Beth's line of work, which I'm sure she's probably also evaluating for herself, given her new status as like being pregnant in the beginning of the film. Like what's her own plan for if she chooses to like move forward with her pregnancy, like what's her own plan for her biological child too. I think like it's the same question. But like outside of her job and like just having some kind of guardian around, I think that she would be a good guardian. Like I didn't have any concerns about like, you know, her ability to be a good parent or not. Like I feel like we didn't get enough of that. It was more of like, oh, you're just some like groupie slut, which like she wasn't anyway.
Right.
So that didn't.
She was a
that doesn't,
guitar
like, speak
technician.
Yes, she was a guitar technician that required her to be on the road a lot. But like that doesn't speak to like her, you know, ability to be a good mother or not. So I feel like it's really hard to like assess for whether or not she like could be an effective guardian. But you know, I think like with therapy for the both of them separately and together, they got a good shot.
But also the dad is the dad's still alive even though he left, so I bet there would be potentially some courtroom drama.
Totally forgot about that guy.
What a weird sequel that would be. It would just be courtroom drama. Like, also, how do you explain what happened to the family? There's a lot of things, obviously. But, like, that's not... That's like the end of Ready or Not, spoiler alert, where it's like, how are the cops gonna believe that she didn't do this to the whole family?
Sure.
Yep.
But also, you talk about courtroom dramas and horrors. Like, we actually surprisingly have a good amount of horror movies that do feature courtrooms and court cases.
That's a good point.
So, yeah.
Love it. Here for it.
Oh, also speaking of the guitar tech, I like that it was related to the record player and all the music stuff. I thought that was like a really nice like loop. But like also like how much soldering can you do without a power outlet? Like that I didn't understand. Was she like jerry rigging it to play the record again without a power? Because the power was still out in the house. So like
I don't know how to solder, so I don't.
Yeah, but I did like how they set up the soldering with the tattoo. Needle. I also like that the mom was super cool, like tattoos and like
she was a very cool. Mom.
Super cool. and I have a.
She's not a regular mom. She's a cool mom.
She's not. She's a super cool mom. She's Mamma Mia. My question is, wait, Nikisha, you said engrossed twice. Is it engrossed or is it engrossed? Because now I'm questioning my life choices.
I didn't even know that I said those words, so just ignore. Engross. Okay, saying engross because of my southern I think it just sounds nasty to say engrossed. It's engrossed. So I just like to say engrossed.
Do you ever listen to like how to pronounce
all the time
on Google if you like type in a word?
Yes.
So I just listened to it. Engrossed. That's what she sounds like.
Like gross, like ew, that's gross. Like engrossed.
Yeah.
I mean, it absolutely makes sense. I think I was just trying to, I don't know, somewhere in my neural pathways have thought that engrossed is what it should be. So,
fantastic.
Is there a way to like play it out loud? Probably not.
Maybe, I don't know. I'll put a link in the description.
Any of you who are interested in the pronunciation of this word,
Amazing.
check it out.
Oh my god!
All right.
Fantastic.
Should we do Rotten Tomatoes, everyone?
Yes.
Rotten Tomato.
It's the Rotten Tomatoes game.
Okay.
Rotten Tomato.
Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think this movie has on Rotten Tomatoes currently, as of this recording?
A 68.
Oh wow! I was gonna say like 88.
Oh.
This has an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just assumed that the critics would be like harder on it.
Offering just about everything longtime fans could hope for while still managing to carry the franchise forward, Evil Dead Rise is all kinds of groovy.
Yeah.
Groovy, baby.
Absolutely.
I do something that I was thinking about before that I don't think I actually talked about was just like the difference between like these new, more contemporary Evil Deads versus the original. And while I don't think that they're as like slapsticky, silly, humorous, I still am really enjoying the chain, as I was saying before. And I feel like that's still a lot of the like hesitation, at least that I'm seeing on social media, is just like, how's it going to be without Bruce Campbell? And like, you know, is it still going to feel like Evil Dead? Like this, it's still the same thing. Like the same people are ultimately behind these stories, and like they're not going to let anything bad happen to these stories.
Agreed.
It's still going to capture the same essence, which like it still is spooky, even though they get humorous. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's why I like these, you know, these one-offs, because it can still stay within the tone. It can create its own tone while staying true to kind of the overall plot points as well, and tone in some ways. But yeah, totally. Like even if the next one we got was a full-on comedy, like I would be you know, each one is a different movie. That's totally fine.
Yeah. Love it.
Cool. Should we do the 4 S's?
Yes.
Skull, scare, shakes, and suggestions. The Talking Horrors 4 S's.
Okay, we have skulls, scares, shakes, and suggestions. Those are our 4 S's. Skulls is how well this movie handles mental health and human behavior. Scares is how scary was this movie. Shakes is how much is this going to stick with you? Can you shake it off? And then suggestions, we'll give some suggestions. We're going to do 1 through 10. Jimmy, why don't you start with your 4 S's, or 3 of them, and you know how it works.
Sure. So for Skulls, I gave this a 6, just minus 4 points for going in the hole. But otherwise, I think people were, you know, mostly there was a little bit of like separation that was happening where I was like, why is this person by themselves, or why have they like split up in this way that I didn't think made sense? But otherwise, I do think that like people are reacting in like pretty, you know, typical human ways. For scares, I gave this a 3. I don't think I was really jump scared, but again, I think there's like really good tension building and some pretty gruesome moments and kills. And for shakes, I'm giving this a 6. I think like it's a good standout for the chain, and I think it you know, there's definitely moments that will forever stand the test of time inside my little head.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nikisha.
Yeah, I also gave this a 6 for Skulls. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, people were peopling more than some of the other ones, in my opinion, so 6 it is. Scares, I gave it a 5, and not because of the jump scares, but because of all of the gore, which I loved, and it was unsettling and beautiful all at the same time. And Shakes, I gave it an 8. I had a great time, really loved it, would go see it multiple times, would tell people to go see it, so that's an 8 for me.
Cool. For Skulls, I gave it a 5. To me, it loses points for starting threads and then losing them. But it gained a lot of points for a lot of the things that you all discussed. Scares, I gave it a 5. From the surprise of the scalping to the uncomfortable aspects of things, definitely a 5. And then Shakes, I'm giving it a 7. I thought this was great. I can't wait to see this movie again. I'm really excited. I would even go back to the movie theaters to see it again. Like, I had like a really great time watching this. It was so much fun. And that may mean it goes up a notch, later. But right now, I'll give it a 7. And as I mentioned for my suggestions, mine is watch Ash versus Evil Dead to get more Evil Dead fix in there. Jamie, I'll pass it to you for suggestions.
Yeah, so I went a very different route. I just thought about like what are other sequels or like remakes or redos or requels or whatever you want to call it to other classic horror movies, and I went with the 2018 remake of Suspiria. I think that is a really interesting movie and think folks should watch it. I haven't seen the original, but the 2018 one was pretty good.
Cool.
The original is crazy. I watched the original during the pandemic, and I mean, all I can remember just was it was so colorful, which was so surprising. I mean, like, I loved the cinematography. The story was kind of okay for me, but I just remember there just being such kind of vivid colors throughout, and not just the color blood, but just it was a wild.
Did you see the 2018?
No, I haven't seen the 2018.
I think you would actually really love it. I think you should watch it.
Grand. We'll put it on my list to watch. Thank you. Yeah, I don't really have a suggestion, but I thought about it because I put it in my likes and gripes of the I never have a suggestion. But if you want blood in elevators, The Shining. So I'm just going to put The Shining.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Bloody elevator.
And Nikisha, you said that this is your favorite Evil Dead movie up until this point?
Yes. Hands down.
Jamie, where does this fall in your list for right now?
I mean, probably 5th. But I still really liked it. Like, that doesn't mean it's bad. I don't think any of them are bad.
Sure. Yeah. I would probably put this somewhere in the middle, somewhere around 2013. I think I like 2013 better today. That doesn't mean that's how I'll feel a little bit. But what I will say is that I think there's an argument to be made that this is one of the, if not the most consistent, strongest horror chain franchises out there. We have 5 movies plus a TV show that all know exactly what they are, put out really good content, tones all over the place in a good way. Like, I can't think of another one that pulls that off with the same consistency. With this many movies and stuff like that. Because, like, you could say that the 3 Conjuring movies are, average out pretty high. But that's still 3 movies versus 5 movies and a TV show. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think of one that is,
did you watch the Scream movie, TV show? Because I thought the first season of Scream was really good.
Sure.
No, I think I heard it was bad, and then I didn't watch it.
As it went on, it was, but the first season, I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I think Scream is definitely on that list, depending on how you feel about 3. But then 3 can technically be equated to like an Army of Darkness, a Medieval Dead type, in terms of like being the comedy one, going for a different tone and stuff like that. But like, yeah, I mean, because like even some of the Freddy movies are awful. Some of the Jason movies are terrible and unwatchable. But like there are more of those, so it balances differently. I don't know, just a thought to put out there.
Yeah. Wait, what was the movie that said none of the Freddy? I was watching something and they were talking about the Freddy movies, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna even watch." Oh, it was this one.
one?
It was this one. Yes.
Yeah.
And they said
when
that
they were like, "Hey, do you want to
in the hallway.
We're gonna watch all of them."
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It was this movie.
I was like, "Oh, it was this."
Oh, it was this.
Oh,
Yeah,
because-
yeah. All the Freddy are good movies, is what they said.
Oh, but as an update, while we're talking about it, because they also have they have a similar conversation in Scream 6, which is now on Paramount Plus if you want to rewatch it. But for those of you keeping track at home, including this movie, I'm up to 17 new 2023 movies this year. I still got a long way to go. There's a lot on my list that I'd like to watch, but Evil Dead Rise is has risen to the top, not the number one on my list, but it's top 5 right now for sure. Top 5.
What is your top 5?
Sure.
Megan, Missing, and this is not in order. Megan, except for Megan. Megan's number 1. Megan, Missing, Scream 6, Evil Dead Rise, and 5. I'm just still figuring out if it's Renfield or The Offering or Unseen. I had to figure out that order, but it's definitely top 4. That top 4 is solid right now. Megan, Missing, Scream 6, and Evil Dead Rise for sure.
Yeah. Oh, and it's only April. So
It's
much
only
more to go.
April. We have so much more to go. You're absolutely right. We've got the Black Demon, From Black, The Boogeyman, The Blackening, Insidious, The Red Door, Haunted Mansion, Talk to Me, The Meg, The Trench, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, They Listen, The Nun 2, Cuckoo, The Exorcist, Saw 10, Five Nights at Freddy's, Thanksgiving. I think the new Ghostbusters movie comes out this year. Night Swim. We have Night Swim's next year. Excuse me. Then there's stuff that we don't know, Salem's Lot is supposed to be coming out at some point. There's a Strangers one remake. It Lives Inside. We saw a trailer for that in front of the movie. That was creepy deepy stuff. There's a ton of stuff still to come out, and I probably missed a lot in that stuff. But this is exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good year for horror for sure. So super stoked. Oh, and isn't there's a
For
what was
sure.
the Jordan Peele adjacent thing that's happening this year? Because his official movies next year, right? But there was something else.
I think
that he
they're
was
both
attached to
next
that was coming
year.
out this year. Oh, okay.
I think they're
Never
both
mind.
next year, but he has 2 movies coming out next year. Well, one is his and one he's producing, and the one that his is coming out around Christmas.
Gotcha.
Oh,
so excited.
Jamie, this was on your most anticipated of this year. Did it live up to that? Did it live up to that?
Hype.
Hype?
Yeah, I think so. It gave me exactly what I wanted. So I feel like that's a win.
You're all I ever wanted.
Now that's how you have to close the.
Yeah. Well, here are my quotes. Well, I'll let you do your outro and then we'll go into the quotes.
Yes.
Sorry, I got excited.
Beautiful.
I got excited.
So excited.
So excited. Grand. So that wraps up our episode of Evil Dead Rise. Also, we watched all of the Evil Dead, guys. So go watch it and listen to the podcast and see if you agree with the things we were saying about these as we were anticipating this movie. So you can
You'll be
follow us engrossed. You can follow us on all the social
I don't
medias.
think of you as being from where you are because you've worked so much on your dialect and your accent. Whenever you say it, it just transports me into I don't know. It's a because I used to have a very thick Jersey accent, Long Island Jersey accent, and in acting school I fixed that.
Do it.
Oh, let's go down the street and look in the drawers. The draws. I can't even say the draws. The shore. Let's go down the shore. I was drinking coffee and I saw a horror movie and all that stuff.
How do I say horror? Horror.
Yeah,
horror.
but
horror.
When you do that, it throws me for a loop. I don't know why, because I think of your voice as being very beautiful from both vocally and from a nouns perspective. A vowels perspective. So that really stuck out to me when you were talking this episode. I was like, who is this person?
Exactly. I've worked very hard because
good for you.
It is in there. So engrossed, so that I don't say engrossed, whatever. Beautiful. All that to say, you can follow us on the social medias, on the TikTok, on the Instagram, on the Twitter at Talk Horror Pod, POD. And Brian, where can they listen to us?
You can listen to us wherever you get podcasts. Find us on Spotify. Find us on Stitcher. Of course, find us on Apple Podcasts. Rate and review us there. 5 stars, please.
And thank you. Beautiful. Hit us up with the quotes, producer
right.
Brian.
My 3 favorite quotes that I can remember off the top of my head from this movie are, "Come and get some." "Mommy's with the maggots now."
Mm-hmm.
And then, "You're going to be a good mom because you know how to lie to kids." Great
That's
line.
a great one.
I liked that one.
I think that was a full
Great line.
conversation, but I just turned it into one line. But I think the one that's going to stay with me is "Mommy's with the maggots now." I want a t-shirt that says "Mommy's with the maggots now." But
put that up on TikTok.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody from Etsy will make one for you.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very true. I'm sure I could. If I looked, I'm sure I could find one.
Yes. Fantastic. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.